Our previous video series, Time Travel Theory Explained, left a few intriguing propositions on the table. The first one concerns Einstein's special theory of relativity. Although Einstein recognized that events that occur at the same time could occur at different times or perspectives for different observers, he does not account for the mental state of the observer himself. The mental state of the observer comes to the forefront when we consider the particular and rather odd psychology pervading the various players involved in the scientific investigation of space-time. A prime example is the rather brilliant Kurt Gödel, Einstein's esteemed colleague who understands the theory of a closed time-like curve better than anyone else. Gödel was preoccupied with the occult and even had to be institutionalized in an insane asylum at two different points in his life. The second intriguing proposition referred to previously was Wikipedia's own description of a closed time-like curve as one of the strangest and most disconcerting phenomena in general relativity. In the Time Travel Theory Explained video series, it was clearly demonstrated that each of us exists as an observer within the parameters of a closed time-like curve. When we come to the prospect where an institution such as Wikipedia either echoes a view or itself views hard science with disconcertation as opposed to dispassionate observation, we are dealing with an X factor, and that is the condition of the observer, and in this case the human condition itself, including the perceptions associated with being human. While we are clearly dealing with the subject of psychology, this is clearly not the realm of ordinary psychology. Some of this can be put into context if you consider the implications of the time reactor, and in particular, the temporal tremor detector, a patented device which can determine if, when, and where any time control operations are occurring on the planet. If you put aside the purely technical considerations for the moment, it is very clear that this represents a sheer power that is well beyond the capacitational aptitude of routine government politicians, let alone individual citizens. When you are dealing with any such powerful technology, you are no longer dealing with just the technology itself, but the potential power that it represents. You are also inevitably dealing with the psychology of power. Thus it is that the psychology of space-time is annexed directly to the psychology of power. Let us now ask, what is power? The dictionary defines power as the ability to do, to act, or to accomplish something. It also represents authority with the capacity to control or command. There is an infinitude of history with regard to how power has been sought after and utilized by various religious and political characters throughout time. It all comes down to either controlling or influencing the observer as an individual or as a collective. This would include the ability to either control or influence one's ability to perceive or experience time. When we consider the control or influence exerted upon various observers or individuals, it is an observable fact that people who are close to space-time projects are routinely preoccupied with or outright suffering from either censorship or mental stress issues. In the past, Dr. David Anderson's efforts to educate the public with regard to the subject of time have been met with considerable censorship issues as well as various extreme mental reactions. We therefore are inclined to embrace the proposition that the problem might not be simply a matter of educating various individuals, but rather of addressing the subjects of sanity and censorship themselves. In summary, we have the following three subjects which are inextricably intertwined. Number 1, psychology. Number 2, power. And number 3, censorship. Each of these subjects could take up volumes. And while they are being addressed in my current books that I'm working on, this current presentation will focus on certain excerpts from those books in order to give you a simplified view of space-time that you probably did not have prior to watching this video. We will therefore, for the time being, leave out the human drama that surrounds power and censorship, and instead focus on the subject of dimension. As the word dimension itself is based upon the idea of mental measurement, we are once again returning to the subject of psychology. but in this case we are referring to the quantitative aspects of psychology as opposed to the qualitative aspects. Therefore, our initial foray into the psychology of space-time will be through an approach to the quantitative aspect of psychology, which can be identified quite literally as dimension. In this video series, The Psychology of Space-Time, we will feature different subjects, each with their own subheading with a respective series of videos on a particular subject. As our first video series concerns dimension, the first video in that series will be entitled An Introduction to Dimension. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more videos.